Action.
Oh fuck! God damn it! God, I wasn't ready to do the.
No, it's fun. We brought it back. Some people will be
We
happy.
brought it back. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, you know.
It's so hard to please the people. I gotta not. This is the only podcast that I do that I read the comments, and I gotta stop because everything it's just so hard to please the people.
You can't. What did Lincoln say? You can't please half the people some of the time, and the other half the other time. What was the phrase?
It's hard. It's confusing because Bob Dylan has a thing, and then Hedberg.
I know, and Mitch Hedberg has a thing too.
Yeah,
because Dylan's like, you know what Lincoln said? Lincoln said half the people, 12, and then Mitch Hedberg's like, and they were all at my show. Yeah, and they all have weird voices.
Well, it's funny because I've never heard or studied the Lincoln. I just know Dylan and Hedberg.
It's something about not pleasing. You can't please all the people, which I guess is true because he said black people should be free, and that was really divisive.
Yeah, a lot of things are divisive. Freeing slaves, getting vaccinated. It's very it's hard to run a country.
In hindsight, like Lincoln doesn't seem like controversial today to be like, I think black people should be free. Like if I said that to you, you wouldn't be like offended,
Right.
But I get that at the time that was real that was a hot take.
Of course, yeah.
That was a very hot take. Yeah. You're like, what? But now it just seems kind of normal, like saying black people should be free is not even like worth saying,
Yeah, but we still struggle with some civil rights like this. But
yeah.
What are we doing? We can't do this. People hate this. I don't know why we keep talking about any kind of policy up front.
I mean,
one guy said rants, by the way. One guy was like, we had a nice back and forth, I feel like, because he was like, you guys shouldn't do political rants. And I just wrote rants, ? And he's like, all right, that was the wrong word. And I'm like, all right, thanks. A rant is like, you fucking
right.
Rant is what I'm going to do when you start trashing these movies.
Also, policy. I just said it's like there's no policy we're talking about. I just said it's not controversial. I think black people should be free.
Well, this isn't policy, but you know what I mean. It is a policy. That's a policy.
I guess it was once a bill.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's for sure a policy.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It's just law. But
that's what policy means.
But so yeah, anyway, let's I'm on the road. I don't even know where I am. I called the city the wrong city the other day. They got really mad. It was very uncomfortable.
Oh, classic. It's like you're like Joe Walsh or something.
I didn't realize I did a joke. Like I always do some joke about like like I talk about being fat and then I say something about like, are you anyone else here whimsically obese? It's a whole bit. And then a couple of people clap and I'm like, well, it's way more than just a couple of you. This is the Midwest. It's most of you. I'm like actually the thinnest one here. But I said that and I go, it's way more than just you two. This is Iowa. It's most of you. And everyone got really mad. And afterwards, I'm like, God, they must be so sensitive about being fat. And then the other comic is like, we're in Nebraska. So not only did I call them all fat, but I said the wrong town name in the same breath, the wrong state in the same breath.
I've done that. I've done that with the wrong school at a college gig, which is even worse because like schools are like real like rivalries.
I don't know. It's pretty bad to call Nebraska Iowa.
Well, I don't want to get in a big pissing contest over which is worse. I shouldn't have said worse because I knew you were going to be like, oh, wait, what? And then now we got to measure it. But I'm just saying states, they're like, hey, we're not that state. But colleges, they're like, fuck that college. They turned me down. They're our rival.
OSU, and you're like, good to be here, Michigan. Go Wolverines. Like that. Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Exactly. But that's
the one sports reference I know.
I know. I remember that from last episode.
Let's talk about these fucking movies because this is going to be heated and contentious. We're going to fight. This is like going to be a duel.
I don't know. I mean, are you going to be shitting on French Connection? I can't imagine so.
I'm shitting on this whole I'm shitting on anything. Yeah, I'm shitting on the whole thing. But let's start with, what should we start? Let's start The Exorcist. Let's start with
I guess so. I mean, first of all, yeah. I mean, The Exorcist I'll take because it's a silly plot. I mean, it's Satan and a child, but it's still a beautiful film. But I mean, this guy, French Connection, I can't even understand what you're going to say about French Connection.
Well, let's start with The Exorcist because all right, we're doing William Friedkin today.
Yes.
Today. And I always had the thought, like The Exorcist, like I never found it scary. And I always assumed it's because I'm a Jew and we just weren't raised with the devil. And I just assume that the reason people think it's so scary is because they were raised with this nonsense idea. Because to me, it's so fucking like just goofy and silly. And I just don't get it. And then I watch it again. I'm bored out of my fucking tits. It's such a boring, dumb. I felt like Jeff, Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park, where he's like, are there gonna be any dinosaurs on this dinosaur trip?
No, I don't know Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park.
Have you
Which
seen
part
that
was
movie?
he?
But I felt like that. I was like, is there gonna be an exorcism in this movie called The Exorcist? I forgot that the exorcism is like at the last 5 minutes. The first hour. Are you entertained by that first hour?
I am. It's a slow, but this is what's so interesting about you, and we've talked about this before, is that some movies you're like, it's so silly. They had guns, they were shooting, there was a car chase. It should be slow and methodical and just people chatting. And that's what a real movie is, a real film. You got to get in there and whatever. This movie has build up and a little preface, a little prologue. It's a slow build. They establish a world, and it only works if you establish. You have to take time to establish that this girl is sweet. Otherwise, it won't work when she's like, "Fuck my cunt, you whore."
I get it.
When the kid's possessed, she sounds like she's on Tuesdays with Stories.
Yeah, it's not. I know. That's the other thing. Like, the devil is just like a guy who uses vulgar language. He's basically just like a comedian. Like I don't know. I get that it needs build up, but I guess my problem is it's building up to something I don't find scary.
Well,
so
I
it's
agree.
like,
see, here's the thing. I agree that it's weird because it feels like you're judging it on scary or not, and not a good.
It's a horror movie. It's a horror movie.
It's a thriller. I mean, it's a thriller. But yeah,
I'm not thrilled. I'm not thrilled. I'm not horrified. I'm not whatever the emotion. I'm not.
Are you intrigued? Are you?
I'm bored. If it was called a boring, like if that was a genre, I'd be like, it fulfilled it. I'm not intrigued. I recognize that Ellen Burstyn gives a good performance, and I recognize that the girl is.
BJ Cobb is great.
Yeah, he's good, but I'm like, it's just a fucking retarded fucking. What is the point? I'm sorry, but I have to go back at the end. Like, the story is stupid as fuck. What does the devil do? What's the point of him going into a little girl? Is that the only place he's at? Is he not in hell? Is he just in this little girl?
I think it's a demon. The devil has
No, it's
demons.
the devil. No, she says, I'm the devil. Fuck you, faggot.
But the demon is representing the devil like an elf represents Santa at the mall. Santa's not at the mall. He's got an elf dressed as Santa. This is a demon dressed as the devil. But first of all, to go back, of course it's not scary. We're in our 30s. We're not like, whoa. Like, I mean, it's unsettling, wouldn't you say? Are you not entertained? You're not entertained. I understand you're saying you're not entertained.
Like the Gladiator. Are you not entertained?
I understand, but it's first of all, can you at least? This is a beautiful looking film. I love the cinematography. I love his direction in this. The camera always moving. You don't feel it haunting. You don't sense this impending doom from the beginning, that it's building to something. It's a wonderful setup of this daughter and mother, and it is a slow build. You can't just immediately be like, Satan's in here. I do agree that who gives a fuck about Satan? I don't believe in Satan. I don't care about Satan. Satan can blow me. There's no Satan. That part I get, but I can still recognize that this is a well-crafted film. And well acted.
It's well crafted, but I guess for what purpose? For what purpose? I don't know. It's like, to me, it's like, okay, even the first shot, and maybe in the 70s, maybe they had never done special effects before, but even the first part where the bed's shaking, it looks like the shit where you go to a hotel and put a quarter in the bed. It just starts shaking. It's like fucking goofy. It's not, were you raised with the concept of the devil? My theory is that you had to be raised with the concept of the devil to find this intriguing.
No, first of all, that doesn't even make sense. I wasn't raised with fucking dinosaurs. Jurassic Park is pretty good.
No, but I'm saying I think my theory is that the only reason people would find this scary is if they had that like concept growing up.
Well, scary's weird. Anything's, I guess there's movies that are scary, like based in reality, which I feel more like Silence of the Lambs is scary because you put yourself. But for the most part, we're adults watching a movie. I understand there's a guy holding a fucking boom mic just off the camera. I'm not scared by a movie. Like if you're gonna base it on being scared, but it is unsettling.
Terrified when I watch The Conjuring. I'm jumping up and down like a fucking bouncy ball. What do you mean? No, I get scared. I mean, like, you don't do jump scares. Do nothing for you.
Well, I'm saying jump scares, but that's a different.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Give me a jump scare, because to me, it's like the psychological of the horror movie. It's like, fuck you. It's a devil. I don't give a shit. Let me just fucking yell. People think that's shallow. I'm like, fuck that. Have a loud noise and something pop out. Get me out of my seat.
I agree. I mean, and we've had this conversation before. You have this horse at the beginning that Max von Sydow, he gets hit by the horse, comes out. That's a jump scare. There's a couple of jump
What the
scary
fuck
things.
is going on in the beginning? I don't even understand what that whole what he's getting, like malaria in Africa. What the fuck is happening? I don't understand. Like, I read about it later and said apparently that's when he released Satan.
What? I don't know.
That's
what
what some review said. That's apparently that's the point, is that he released the devil when he took. I just, what the point is? What's the point of that whole opening? I don't even get that.
I think it's setting up that character who's going to come in and do an exorcism later. Now, I do agree. I'll get back to that in a second. I do want to say I do agree. Once they're at the exorcism, it's very silly. I don't care about that. It's just, it's the, whoa, you're the devil, the Christ compelled. They're throwing water, and it doesn't, that's how most horror movies, though. Almost every horror movie ever, and I've talked about this before too, is scary for an hour when they're setting it up and it's spooky. And then it goes, oh, it's children. It's the children of the dead. And that's how I feel about scary movies. It's always children or water, which are not scary to me. Or
once you explain what the horror is, I guess it's like becomes a little goofier sometimes in movies.
Yes.
But for this, I'm like, what is scary? Like, I mean, I get, like, to me, I'm just like, kind of like, I guess there's a part where she's like stabbing her pussy.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, does that, like, I feel like that really is gonna leave some lasting damage.
I thought that too, because like in my mind, I was like, why don't they just like beat the fuck out of her? But they're like, oh, they can't because she's a teenager. But she was stabbing herself and I guess jerking off with the crucifix or whatever. She's gonna be spoiled. Good.
Yeah. I mean, like at the end, she's like, she doesn't remember any of it. And I'm like, yeah, but is she ever like, Mom, why is my pussy completely broken? Like, I feel like she's done, right? Like, that's stabbing.
Well, I think it's like a Men in Black thing where it's just like she's been, the pussy is going to be pulverized.
How does her, like her neck goes all the way around? That can't be good for you.
Well, I think you have to suspend some disbelief. Also, here's another thing that doesn't quite add up. Satan is inside of her. That's another thing that doesn't really. I mean, that you have to suspend some disbelief. It's a horror movie.
I know, but like, what is the? I get that, but like, what is the purpose? Like the devil. Why is the devil doing this?
I know, because he's fucking mysterious. He's the devil. I don't know.
And also, like, I really texted you this. I find it not the idea of the devil. Like, the devil was an angel who fought God, right?
So you know this stuff. Why aren't you?
I know that. Yeah, he fought God, and he had a war with God. This is how cocky the devil.
I don't know
was.
any
He's
of
like,
this.
I'm gonna fight the guy who created everything, and that's, which is cocky as shit. He fought him. War fell, and God put him in hell. And then I guess apparently he was like, all right, I'm going to set my sights a little lower this time. I'm going to go for that middle school girl. But like, I'm like, why? What is he? And you tell me it's not Satan. It is. He says, I'm Satan. You're saying he's Satan's ambassador?
Satan is like God. How could God watch all of us at the same time? He can't be in Omaha with you watching your bullshit and then watching my brilliance in Salt Lake City. It's God is all over. Satan is.
But I think once he's possessing her, I think he's just in that little girl's body. I think that's,
I don't know. He's probably possessing a few bodies. By the way, where'd you get all the information? Is that from the Bible or what? You know more than I do about Satan.
The war. He's just the fucking archangel. He fell and he became Satan.
Is that in the Bible? That's what I'm asking.
It's not. It's in the not the main. The fucking New Testament's just. It's just Jesus. It's just a Jesus story from 4 different. But you got perspectives, but like
you got to explain like I'm a 6-year-old. I don't know where any of this is from. You're saying yeah and no at the same time. Is that in the Bible? Where did you get this information? Is this a film?
It's I mean it's I guess it's in the, what do you call it? The Milton, the Milton what's it called?
Milton
Paradise
Bradley?
Lost, Paradise Gate, but I don't know what part in the Bible it is, because it's not the four
agreements.
The 4 saints. It's not the 4. No, but maybe it's the Book of Revelations or some shit. It's an extra thing. It's like the they have a lot of fan fiction, like extra shit that didn't make the deleted scenes.
Oh,
it's one of those.
And the devil. But so did
God?
Was an angel. Did God invent hell for Satan, or did he already have it down there? Oh, he did.
I think he invented it for Satan.
But Satan likes it, so why would he make it for him?
It makes no sense. None of it makes any sense. And also, if like, if Satan isn't he like working for God in a way? Like if he's part of like it makes no sense.
Yeah, because God condemns you to hell, right?
Yeah, and then the priest and having a lack of faith, and it's like I feel like a good sign that there's a God is that she's levitating and fucking do it. Like
that's what's so compelling is he's questioning the church, questioning his beliefs, and what brings him back to belief is that Satan is here, presented in front of him.
yeah,
Isn't
though
that
never
compelling?
no, because they never really go into why does he lose his faith? I
don't know, because it's silly.
The what?
Because it's silly.
I don't know. I feel like they don't delve enough. I mean, he's a good actor, but they don't really delve into that. And I still think it's like, it's just fucking. I mean, I hate to say this word, but it's fucking retarded. It's fucking dumb, stupid. Like Exorcist shit.
Why'd you say that like you're from the Bronx?
I don't know. I thought it'd be less offensive.
But that guy John Miller, that actor, they offered him after his role in this. They offered him the lead in Taxi Driver. He turned it down.
Oh, he would have been good. Well, I mean,
pretty good. He's also plays Coach Ara Parsegian in Rudy, which is great.
Yeah, no, he's a good. I mean, look, the acting is fantastic.
Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Don't you think the direction is fantastic too, though? That constant movement and these long, slow zooms in and then all the way coming back out and stuff. I mean, it's pretty beautiful. I guess I just love 70s film, the way it looks, the lighting, all the choices he makes are really great. And it's just a compelling movie. I just enjoy the hell out of it. I do agree the last 20 minutes, I am like, all right. Because but like I said, that's every horror movie. They're screaming about Satan and hell. But him jumping out the window is pretty cool. The way they fucking shoot that is amazing also.
Yeah, but like I feel like there are some movies that are really great and the last 15 minutes are bad. But like if you don't like the last 15 minutes of this movie, it's kind of like the movie kind of failed because it is called The Exorcist. And that is like the big thing at the end, you know?
I guess so, yes. I mean, it's not one of my fucking top 50 favorite movies.
No, yeah. I mean, I get that it's well made. I need a good story. You know what it is? It's form over content. I need a little content, you know? Give me, and I get that Ellen Burstyn's good, but like, I just don't get I just think the idea is stupid. And look, there are silly, like Vertigo is like a silly plot, but the emotions in it are amazing, you know? And the obsession.
There's emotions in this movie. Do you not find that?
I know, but I guess I find the story so dumb.
But don't you find isn't there something to like show business? Don't you think there's a little bit of that in there? Was that purposeful? She's an actress in this like pretentious director as her best friend, and then she gets possessed by Satan. I mean, there's a little something there. That's a little juicy, don't you think?
But what is it? I don't know. I didn't get she's an actress, and yeah, I think it's like in a way, it feels like a conservative movie. It's like she's this agnostic actress living on her own, single mother. That's like a sin. They got divorced, and now this real religious thing's happening, and it is a very pro-religious movie. Like it's very kind of like these fucking spiritually devoid agnostic people. This is the real deal, the devil. The only one who can really fucking deal with it is the fucking Catholic Church. I mean, it is a pro-religious movie.
But did they deal with it? It's a little ambiguous at the end. Is everything cured? I mean, the priest fucking dies. I mean, it can't be that religious if Satan is coming in. It's funny to call this a religious movie because the religion just was horrified by it and pissed off by it. What could piss off the religion more than fucking Satan coming into a child and shoving a crucifix in her cunt and saying, suck my dick or whatever?
But they saved the day, the Catholic Church.
I guess they save the day. One of them dies. The other one almost dies. And that's also part of the buildup, too. In the beginning, he's got like a fucking heart condition. He's got to take his little pill, and he's been there, and he's seen the spirits. He had a premonition. The whole beginning is about him premonicing this. He sees the dog with the fucking wings and everything.
But there's no character for him. Like, I get that Max von Sydow is a good performance, but you don't really get into his character.
I couldn't see that.
Understand why he's like, there's no emotion where like, this is like a big part of his, like, they just don't delve in.
It could have been a little more delvy, but
it's not delve.
But no delve. You gotta have delve.
You gotta have some delviness.
It's also funny because you're like, this is lacking any heart or whatever or plot. You're like, there's not really much plot or story here, but I'm like, there's a lot of story here. There's a woman who's like an actress with all these friends with a daughter. Her daughter is possessed by Satan. Then you have a priest who's questioning his faith. You have another priest who's old and coming out of retirement to do another exorcism. You have a detective that's trying to get on the case. I mean, there's a lot going on here.
I would say to you that the detective is kind of filler in the movie because like that doesn't really. He's like there, and there's a lot of scenes with him that have no like. like you could have done the whole movie without him. Like he doesn't really move the plot forward. Because to me, the plot itself is really like there's not really any what do you call it? It's like she gets possessed. They go to a bunch of avenues that are incorrect, and then the priest comes and they kind of do a job but fail but do a good job. So like I feel like that cop shit is like boring to me too. It's just like thrown in there.
I mean, I
no.
think,
Are you not bored?
I think you're making decent points about it. I just find it entertaining. Again, I just love the way it looks. I do think it's more compelling than you're saying. I mean, a fucking 13-year-old girl is suddenly possessed by the devil. She comes down in the middle of a cocktail party and tells a fucking astronaut he's going to die in space and takes a piss on the floor. I mean, there's some compelling shit. The bed thing is silly, but it's a fucking horror movies. All are silly at some point. That's like we've talked about this before. The scariest movies aren't actually horror movies. It's like Jaws and Silence of the Lambs and shit.
Yeah, but I guess I'm trying to think like why I'm not scared, and maybe it's like
because you're an adult.
But I also think maybe like to me, it's kind of like a horror movie should have like an actual real fear in real life. It's like it should have real fears, And I guess the real fear here is like losing, like a kid being sick or losing your mental abilities. But for some reason, I didn't know who to be afraid for. Like if I'm watching like Conjuring, I'm afraid for those kids when there's a ghost pop out, right?
Right. Okay.
But who am I supposed to be like worried for? The mother, the girl? Maybe it's because I'm not a parent. I just don't give a shit.
I mean, this is like hard questions to criticize a film, I guess. I mean, who are you supposed to be scared for? I don't know. Maybe the teenager who's possessed by Satan. That might be someone. Maybe the mother who is living with a fucking demon who earlier in the film was a cute and sweet and loving kid, which they presented well, which I'm sorry for you. You had better things to do than setting up that this girl is the opposite of Satan.
I guess for me, because it's the devil, I know he's going to lose because it's the devil. If there's a devil,
did he lose?
Yeah, he died. He left. He left the girl. He left the big enemy, the girl, his big arch nemesis, a middle schooler.
And on the way, a fucking priest jumped out of the devil killed two people, one of them being a priest who fucking dove headfirst out of the window.
But to me, it's like if there's a devil, it means there's a God, which means God's ultimately going to win. That's my thought. So even in the worst parts of this movie, I'm like, it's going to be fine. I mean, I know people are going to die, but like, it's the devil has to lose. That's interesting. And also it's like, it's not a real, like, you know how like fantasy movies suck because it's just like, ooh, he has the ring and the ring is good and the other ring is bad. And it's not dealing with like real people. It's just, ooh, the force. It's kind of like, this is kind of like the shallowness morally of a fantasy movie where it really is just like evil, but not like any real sense of evil. And, I don't know. It's like,
I agree with that, but it's
logical evil.
It's at least well written and well performed. Whereas like Star Wars is like, great shot, Gold Leader. Thanks for seeing that, buddy. Like it's like it at least has some reality
shot
based, and like the doctors seem real. Also, you have to at least admit the fucking spinal tappy scene. Is that not some of the great filmmaking you've ever seen? Is that not moving you, scaring you with the blood squirting out, the fucking needle piercing into her neck, and the mother watching? Is that not compelling? That's not entertaining. That's not making you feel. That is visceral to me. I'm like squirming and sitting. You want to get out of your seat. Did you skip that scene? Did you fast forward? Did you watch a cut version? Give me something on that. You got to give me something.
I mean, yeah, again, I was like, that's gross. I don't know.
So realistic.
I guess the whole time, yeah,
and jarring to watch your kid go through this, and it's not even helping. Don't you relate to that as a hypochondriac? That I related to so much of feeling something that's wrong. No one's understanding what's wrong, and you just feel even as the patient. I can't
get past the devil part. I guess that's the thing I can't get past.
Forget the devil for a second. What you're saying you can't, but try. Just that part alone, when she's going in and they're having all these crazy tests done, and there's 8 doctors, and you're not getting a satisfying answer. I've lived that. I've lived that. And going through these horrible things.
I'll give you that.
MRIs and shit.
I'll give you that.
That's compelling.
That part is compelling. I'll give you that. But in the
Okay.
next scene, she's like, your mother sucks donkey dicks in hell. Fuck you, you homo. And I'm like, am I supposed to find this scary?
That's like a
It sounds-
Patreon.
It sounds like a guy on the bar at the bar.
And literally, I mean, I am this character. That's why I love it. A hypochondriac who talks like that. It was like my podcast and my 20s combined.
That's the part I guess once she starts talking like the devil, I'm not. I think it's funny. Like I'm not scared by it. And I don't understand how people are scared. Like, oh my God, she called the priest a faggot. I'm like, that's hilarious. Like, that's not like.
Well, also you do have to factor in the time period. This is 1973. Yeah. We're like, I think at the time, we're like 8 years removed from like doot 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 doot, like singing in the rain and shit, which was 20 years earlier. But it is also a wildly we've also been what do you call it? Fucking beaten down with death and blood and goo and gop or whatever.
I think that's correct. I think here's my theory. Okay, so movies were like, see here and whatever shit, and then I think this movie is like so vulgar, but it allowed an R rating just because it was about like the Catholic Church, so it had some like kind of like. Like they could never get away with this shit without this like religious thing going on in the movie, you know? Because I do think a lot of people thought of like this is a movie about how religion is real and it's an important movie, you know? And so it allows scenes that you would never have in other movies. Like you would never, if you took away the devil from this, you would never have an R-rated mainstream movie where a girl stabbing her vagina with a cross and then making her mother lick her bloody pussy. Like that's an actual scene. She's like, lick it.
So you're saying it's pretty provocative.
I'm saying because it hides behind the morality of the church, they allowed all this shit. It's kind of like the church can talk about hell in this awful way because it's within the moral spectrum. So it allowed all this awful shit you would never see in a mainstream movie at that time, which was shocking to people.
Yes, that's
but now that shit ain't shocking. Now it's just her on a bed where I'm like, it's just like a guy pushing that bed under the bed.
You seems like you're trying a lot of new accents. You're like, now that shit ain't.
I like the idea of like, I'm trying different. Like I don't like my accents. I'm going to try a different one. I'm like the possessed.
I know like this devil. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just think it's compelling. But yes, I agree. And it is hard for me to want I guess there's people who are watching it who believe in God and Satan, and so it's scarier. I can't watch from their perspective. I don't know what that is. That seems whatever. I don't want to shit on anybody.
And then
whatever.
She's like talking like the mother, like them help me, and he's like, "You're not my mother." It's like, yeah, we know. Like it's like I don't know why he's so like tricked by that.
I mean, if your mother just died and a teenager was talking with your mother's exact voice, I mean, come on, that's like that. You gotta suspend some disbelief. Why is he tricked by that? Because
I guess
it sounds exactly like his mother.
I guess I was talking to a little girl who's possessed, and she was just like, "Renee, take out the trash." I'd be like, "Oh my God!" I'd be like, "Not my mother." All right, fine. I'll give you that. I'll give you the compelling, but yeah, I just can't give you the it's just Mark Norman taking over a little kid. I just can't give you that part, you know?
I mean, and it's just, I just think it's shot so cool. I feel like he must be a big influence on Zemeckis because he has that constant moving camera. When Lee J. Cobb first meets up with, Arab coach from Rudy, and they're walking, and somehow the camera stays behind them, but the building keeps getting bigger. It's like a zoom in.
Yeah.
You're following them. I don't know how they do that. There's a lot of really cool camera work, a lot of great cinematography. I really just enjoy it. But I agree. The last 20 minutes, I'm like, okay, great. I literally start looking at my phone. I don't care about an exorcism.
I think Ghostbusters ruined it for me too. It feels very Ghostbusters-y now. You know what I mean? Like with her on the
came
bed.
First, right?
I know, but because I've seen Ghostbusters, I'm like, I just associate this shit with like Bill Murray and Sigourney Weaver on the bed. You know what I mean? I just think it just seems like, yeah, I just don't. Yeah, I guess I just don't find the material. I think ultimately, yes, it's well crafted, but it's not a. It's a dumbass story that is fucking dumb. And I think the devil taking over a 13-year-old girl just makes him look pathetic. It doesn't make him look all scary. It makes him look weak.
Okay, but
it's like I'm taking over. It's like the guy who picks on the smallest person because they know they can't beat up the bigger person.
Maybe there's an allegory there.
Well, maybe, but it's an allegory. It's just like the devil is like, how are you scared of someone who's just like, I'm going into this 13-year-old girl? Like, it's just pathetic. I don't know.
I mean, it's pretty scary. I mean, who do you want him to go into? Like some dictator? That's already devilish. That's what makes it. That's what makes it the scariest. You're going into the person that's least devil-like. It's innocence. It's an innocent child girl who could hurt nobody and can't even think that well because girls have tiny brains. So that's what makes it such a compelling situation.
God, when she gets like becomes like Reagan again, I'm like, she's got to have such a headache after that. Right,
Yeah.
that's got to be like a bad hangover.
A Satan hangover. Plus, he should be limping like nobody's business.
I know. Do you think? I know the mother's in shock a couple times, but do you think sometimes the mother's watching her and she takes a little too long to get to Reagan? She's kind of stands there shocked a little too long. Did you notice that?
Well, she left her alone too, which is strange.
She left her alone, and then I feel like when she's stabbing her with the pussy, she's just like, whoa. And then after like a minute, she's like, I should probably get in there.
Well, it might be jarring. I don't know. I've never had a daughter.
Yeah, it's probably jarring.
Stabbing herself.
Yeah, and then I guess at the end when she becomes Reagan, it's like she's not fully sure she's Reagan yet, you know?
Right. None of us are.
And we know the story about the end with the priest, right? What Friedkin did, who's just a fucking psychopath. You know the story?
No, tell me.
The real priest who's like giving him the last rites when he's bloody on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't doing a good acting job, the priest, because he's a real priest. So Friedkin went up to him and goes, do you trust me? And he said, yes. And apparently you should never say yes if Friedkin asked if you trust me, because then he slapped him as hard as he could across the face. And so that when they filmed him, the literally Friedkin slapped an actual priest. So when they filmed him, he was like trembling over the girl. And that's how he got the good acting, by literally slapping him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I truly think Friedkin is just like a fucking psychopath. He risks people's lives.
He's a bit of a nut.
He's insane.
Yeah, well, he made some great movies in the 70s and not many since then. But
what other movies besides these two is he respected for?
Well, there's a big fall off.
Yeah, it's just these two, right? Like he made a movie called Cruise that's supposed to be bad.
Cruising. I just watched it. I watched it. After watching that, and it's not good.
Isn't that like really homophobic?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, they were really outraged by it because it's like gay killers and they're all possibly killers. But Pacino's fun and it's cool to see some New York 70s stuff. And I like guys with beards making out, but it's not a great movie at all. It's not good. Blue Chips, people hate. I liked because I was a kid.
Oh, that's him. Okay.
And then Rules of Engagement he did in the 90s. And then there's a movie called Sorcerer.
He's just like
also.
He's a very tough guy. Like you do sense. I know you hate me getting political, but here we go. He seems like a very kind of right wing conservative guy, and his movies seem very tough and manly in a way that I personally don't like. Like I can tell from his movies that I just don't like him.
That's fair. I mean, I like watching him, listening to him talk. I think he's a funny guy, and I think he's compelling, and I think he cares about film, and I think he's
maybe I would like him, but I guess I just don't like.
I don't know his politics. I don't care about his goddamn politics.
All right, I don't care about his politics either, but I think the message seeps in a little.
I hear you. All right, we got.
All right, let's talk about French Connection.
Okay, cool. Our friend is not coming. By the way, I bumped into a guy in the street who's a fan of the podcast, and he worked at Criterion. And he's like, "You should get William Friedkin on the show." He's like, "He's just sitting around doing nothing. I bet he'd do it." Maybe we should try to get some real filmmakers on. But then it makes me nervous because we can't have him on. Because what if he does background work, like some research, and watches you just trash him and call him a right-wing fucking idiot?
Right, that's true. I mean, they probably won't do research. Hopefully,
yeah. Most artists don't do any background.
What director do you think we get? Well, again, we just have him on again. I guess we would if we could get Freak. I was like saying we already did Freakin', but I guess if he would want to do it, we would obviously have another episode.
Talk about another film. We wouldn't just trash his movie to him.
Well, no, maybe we can get a director. Who do we know?
I don't know a lot. I met Spielberg a few times, but
you met Spielberg?
No, it's a joke. You said it like I'm just like, well, we know Wes Anderson. He could come in. I know Richard Linklater and I had a hot dog together.
Yeah, maybe be hilarious if we just had Spielberg on the next one.
That's really funny. All right, let's talk about French Connection, which evidently you're not gonna like, which is weird to me.
I mean, I like it way better than The Exorcist.
Okay, well, that's a start.
You know me and Gene Hackman. I'll watch anything with Gene. You know that I know when you're like, I'll watch anything with someone. That's how I feel about Gene Hackman more than anyone.
I just watched a movie called Night Moves. Did you ever watch Night Moves?
No, is it based on the Bob Seger song?
No. Well, he is a little too tall and he could use a few pounds, but no, you don't even know the song.
I know. No,
All right.
Let me do a couple
No,
of my pets. I got
it's
it.
fun. And it's got Melanie Griffin, who's like
Mm.
16 and she's naked a ton.
Really? Wait,
Yeah.
16? Wait, she's
Yeah.
16. Are
She's
you watching child porn?
In the actual movie, I think she was 17 at the time, maybe, but she's like a teenager, just like full naked, like swimming under a boat and stuff. There's also a scene.
How is that not child porn?
I don't know. It was quite controversial at the time, but back then I think things were just different. I don't know. It seems weird, but I mean, she's not fucking. But there's a scene in the movie Night Moves that's just like Jaws, and it came before Jaws, where there's like
What's
a
the
body
scene?
in a boat under the water with the same lighting and everything.
Oh, really? And it was before Jaws?
It's like 2 years before.
What's the movie about?
It's about he's a PI and the woman's daughter ran off, and the woman needs to find the daughter because she relies on her trust fund to make money or something. So Gene Hackman goes looking for her. Melanie Griffin is the daughter. It's pretty good.
It's Melanie Griffin? I always thought it was Griffith.
Maybe it's Griffith.
I don't know, but now you've convinced me.
Melanie Griffith. I don't know.
She's naked, but she's young.
Yeah, I like the way that you're pretending to have a moral thing, but you're going to run and watch it as soon as this is over. Like, I feel like you're going to be distracted during this conversation, so you can go see it.
I already pulled it up on my screen. I don't know. I love Gene Hackman. You know, I love Roy Scheider. I love Roy. Even though Roy Scheider is so. Do you feel this way about Roy Scheider? I feel like he's so associated with Jaws in my mind that every time he's in another movie, I'm just like, hey, it's Martin Brody the whole time. I don't know.
This movie came first. I saw this movie second, but this movie I've seen it also like 15 times, so I can see him as both. He's also I'm only really familiar with him with these two movies and a couple other maybe.
He's not in that many.
He's not in that many, and he did not have he had a career, but not great movies. Like Gene Hackman continued to make great stuff in the 80s and into the 90s and even 2000s, obviously, where Scheider just didn't have, I feel like maybe he wasn't great at reading scripts or he didn't have a great agent or something.
I feel like I tried to look it up. He's mainly just known for this, Jaws 2, and All That Jazz. Those are big movies.
It's interesting. And then there's also All That Jizz, which is a movie I'm working on.
That's a good porno spoof.
There's got to be a porn called All That Jizz.
Can I tell you the ones I thought of?
Sure.
Night of the Giving Head.
Oh,
that's pretty good, right?
That's great.
And Guess Who's Coming on My Hair. Maybe that should be tits.
Maybe it should be Guess Who's Coming at Dinner.
Guess Who's Coming at Dinner? Okay. Yeah. Did you not? Yeah.
Dinner or something.
I had one other one. I can't remember it now. But anyway.
Not Forrest
Night of the Giving. No. But yeah, I like Roy Scheider. I like Gene Hackman. It's a very manly, it's a very like, we're not gonna have any fucking dive. Like this movie goes out of its way to have no subplots, you know? It's like we are sticking to the main fucking story. We don't need any fucking background shit. We don't need a wife. We don't need a wife going, you've come home late. You know what I mean? And I think that's cool. They like take away all the diversionary tactics.
Yeah, it's like a documentary. It's shot like almost documentary style. It feels like a documentary, but there is some background stuff. Gene Hackman had some kind of incident before where a cop died. He's a womanizer, and there's something beautiful about Scheider's. Like, I go with my partner. There's a friendship here. There's a lot going on here, I think. And Scheider's just amazing. I wish he had made more great movies, because when I watch him in Jaws and in this movie, I'm like, this guy's as good as any of those guys. Dustin Hoffman, Al Pacino, Gene Hackman, that kind of school.
It's also kind of similar to Jaws, his performance as someone who's like trying to keep this crazy person calm. You know what I mean?
I can see that.
He's kind of like there to be like the reason, the balance, you know?
I guess so. It's dissimilar in a lot of ways, though. Like, one, he's like, I'll go with whatever he's doing. He's my partner. He's my friend. I trust him. He's also not a pussy in this one.
He's not a pussy, but he's a cop in both, I realize.
Very good.
But he's not a pussy, but he's still like kind of like the calmer guy next to a crazy masculine guy, you know?
Yeah, well, but you wouldn't describe him as calm in Jaws. He's certainly not calm.
He's rational.
He's the
rational. Maybe. Yeah. I guess I like that. The French guy is, I guess, interesting. Some of the scenes with him seem very boring, but I guess that's part of it. I don't know, but like,
I guess interesting. He's great. He's so compelling. He's like the class. There's so many things that start with this movie to me. like the classic thing, and maybe someone's going to point out this happened in film noir earlier, but that thing like Beverly Hills Cop, 48 Hours, Point Break, that thing of the two partners, one's crazy, the other one's listening to him, and the boss that's like, yeah, I've had it with your hunches. No more hunches.
Yeah.
Like, I'm telling you, man, we got a big one here.
Yeah.
Just let me reel him in. And he's like, you're wrong. And by the way, that's similar to Jaws when he's like, it's definitely a game fish or a marlin or a stingray. And he's like, something really big. That's what Popeye's doing. It's the same thing, pre-Jaws.
I guess I still don't think there's enough delving in this movie. That's my main issue. There's not enough delving. I mean, I get Gene Hackman is obsessed with it. And I guess that he like, and I get the end. The ending is kind of cool where he shoots the guy, but it also has a lack of weight to me because that guy's such an asshole in it. So you're like, don't really care that he got shot that much.
And he doesn't care. That's what's compelling.
I know he doesn't care, but like
shoots an FBI agent and he doesn't even give a fuck. He doesn't even blink. That's what completes the character. That's what makes it such a great character. And it's one of the rare times. And this is the kind of thing you should love. This is the kind of thing you should want. Knowing all you think about movies is, I get it. The good guy. He's the good guy. I know he's going to be good. But here's a cop. And this hadn't been, well, I guess it was done in the 40s with noir and shit. But here's a cop, the main guy, the protagonist, is kind of a piece of shit. He's a womanizer. He's a racist. He's off. He shoots an FBI agent, doesn't even give a fuck. That's compelling. That's the kind of thing you're always asking for. And here it is.
I like a piece of shit that you empathize with. I guess I think they do a good job of making him a piece of shit. I guess I don't fully empathize with him. I guess I think they stop with him just being a piece of shit. Like, to me, I want to feel compassion for a piece of shit. And I don't think they do anything to make you feel that, because it is really just ego the whole time. That's all. The movie is just pure manly, like, ego. It's just like, I want to catch the criminals. Don't even seem that bad.
They're New York City cops in the 70s. What do you want to do? Wear fedoras and fucking skinny jeans and eat vegan?
I guess if they did a little more delving, I could feel a little more compassion, but I guess I'm just like, I don't feel like I know him still. I get the end. Yes, he doesn't give a shit, but I don't feel like I know. I just don't feel like I know the character. I think it's a little, I think there's too many. They throw away every diversionary thing to make it just purely the plot. And I think they do it too much. They go too far the other way. They have no outer shit that makes me would care about the characters, you know?
But you don't think you know him? Like, I mean, first of all, I mean, what a great moment where he's driving and you see the lady riding her bike, and then it just cuts to the bike is fucking in the house, and then she's there and he's handcuffed to the thing right before a big stakeout. Again, very similar to Point Break in some ways. But I mean, he's this womanizer guy.
They don't go into that again. They don't go into anything with his sexuality again that one time, and then it's ignored for the rest of the movie. So that's not like something they delve into. It's just like a little detail right there.
But they give you enough to know who he is, what he is. They allude to the past, but they don't want any of that. We're getting right to it. We're getting to the meat here.
Yeah, and you know, I don't know. It's, to me, it's like, I think it's ultimately it's all the meat, but I guess I need a little seasoning on the meat. There's just too much. It's pure meat. I need a little more. I don't know. Or maybe I think there's not enough meat. Maybe that's the thing. I think ultimately it's still a little shallow. Like in Chinatown, Jack Nicholson has this like moral conflict and this feeling and this wanting to do good. And he can be a piece of shit, but it's this real internal conflict. There's really no internal conflict with Gene Hackman. Like, he's just kind of like a fucking guy who's just upset. To me, it felt like it was made by a movie director who's like, fuck all that emotional shit. Fuck all that internal conflict. Let's just have a fucking, you know, cat and mouse game. Just a guy who really wants it. And I don't want to delve into it at all. That's for pussies. That's what I felt like I was watching.
That seems pretty good to me. It makes it unique. I mean, it makes it unique, and it makes it compelling too. We're getting right to this. Like I said, it feels like a fucking documentary. I think they do give you plenty of him. He doesn't give a fuck. He's not overly moral. He loves being a cop. He's a cop. He's dressed up as Santa Claus. He's going to chase them wherever he goes. There's some personality there with.
Give me some kind of internal conflict. You don't have to be a good guy, but give me something. He just is that thing, and there is no like internal. He's not pushed in any way internally.
Let's talk about how fun this movie is, though. Okay. I mean, do you not feel that it's so fun, it's so interesting, and it's so it's a thriller? I mean, this is a thriller. I mean, we don't have to jump into the car chase scene, but like, what an amazing, I guess we can.
Car chase scene is good. The car chase scene is very good.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's an incredible achievement in the fucking history of cinema.
Which
and
apparently
again,
that psychopath also risked a lot of lives trying to film that.
of course, which gives you more insight into him. I mean, that's what it is. It's all ego. And then his buddy is willing to go with it because he believes in him, which is compelling. But I mean, a car chasing a runaway train hadn't been done before. And then there's a little bit of speed in that one, too. Obviously, the baby carriage. I mean, what a massively influential movie. And again, this is 1971. This is early into the new Hollywood. Just again, like, think about how recently, like, 2015 is. Like, that's how long ago these movies had none of this. No grit, no reality, none of that shit.
Yes, the movie is very groundbreaking at the time, but the problem is with movies that are groundbreaking, if they don't really have much of a soul under that goes beyond whether it's groundbreaking or not, just some real internal conflict, timeless drama, the groundbreaking part kind of you start to take for granted because you've just seen it so much, and you're looking for that eternal drama, the internal conflict. That's the thing that really holds up when other things kind of fall by the wayside, and you don't have it in this. So, and I guess in a way, I think maybe like The Exorcist is so groundbreaking at the time, but doesn't have that kind of deeper human drama that makes it still resonant today.
Let me go back to my point that I started to make, and then I went off in the car chase. Are you not entertained? Are you enjoying yourself? Because this movie to me is pure fun. And there's movies that are fun that are like, you know, whatever. What people think is fun is King Kong wrestling Godzilla while fucking Popeye watches, or whatever the fuck bullshit. Mega Man flying around, saving the earth. This is fun and reality based. I could watch this movie if it was 8 hours of them just following these guys. This classic old school, the cat and mouse, when they're playing cards and laughing, listening to them, trying to watch him. And the French guy is such a classically fun bad guy, and all the mirrors and the slow zooms while he's eating, and him cold, the little details of him stomping his feet, trying to stay warm while they're watching them. I just love it. The guy with a hunch. It's just so fun. I'm watching two guys have fun. And then how cathartic the scene where they're taking the car apart. I just find it so fucking fun and cathartic. The car ride is so great. It's just fun to me. It's fun, and it's beautiful and gritty and dark and 70s in New York.
Yeah, it's 70s in New York. I feel like if something's 70s in New York already, you're like pretty on board, you know?
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, but yes, it's gritty. It's a cool area. I like the car part, though. It's funny. I'm thinking Roy Scheider, he takes apart a shark in Jaws, and in this he takes apart a car.
He doesn't take apart the shark. He's not dissecting it. He fucking shoots it and it explodes.
No. When the other shark, they slice it open and they're looking through it. Remember?
Oh, I see. Okay, I see. That makes more sense.
Yeah, that's kind of a good point. Right? And what does he find in the shark? A car, a license plate.
Oh, that's not bad.
But he doesn't find a shark in the car.
No, that car scene is so fucking fun, but it is frustrating that he's like, I took everything off except the rocker panels, and he's like,
yeah, I guess even that was like, it wasn't like such a like, yeah, I guess it was kind of a basic kind of moment right then, because it was just kind of like, yeah, it was just like, oh yeah, there's one other thing I didn't check. like it wasn't like,
no, it's a little silly.
It wasn't like a little. I wish there was more of some kind of mental trick there, like, oh, we checked that part, but not the inside part. But instead it was like, I checked everything, but there's one part. I checked it all, but I gave up on this very last thing for no reason.
No, it's a little fun. I mean, it's funny. It's a little silly. It reminds me of Family Guy, one of the many Star Wars spoofs, where he's like, it's indestructible, right? Did you ever watch that? I think it was Blue Harvest, where he's like, the Death Star, it's indestructible, right? He's like, yeah. And he's like, wait, there was a little delay there. What was that delay? And he's like, well, there's one little space. It's only 18 inches wide, but if you shoot it, the whole thing blows up. And he's like, why did you put that in there? It's like, it was a whole, I mean, it is silly, but that moment is also great. Like, I guess I just love the acting and the cinematography. Again, it feels so real with them like all fucking tired and put out, which we can all relate to when you're putting everything into a project and it's not working out. And then Scheider's like sitting on the desk reading the fucking
humanity?
paper.
Where's the humanity? Where's the soul? It's just about catching a guy to prove you're like for pure validation. There's no soul. Give me humanity.
But that happens in life all the time. That's a huge part of life. That's like when you're trying to get laid, it's just ego. That's all you're doing. It's not like maybe Popeye's trying to fill something. There's something there with Popeye that's missing. He had a sad fucking but we're not doing that.
Get into that.
I know, but this is the 70s New York, man. It's a documentary style. It's grit. We can't just go into like his mother was a fucking vegan and his dad was sad or he hit him. That you can fill in yourself. You're smart enough. You can fill it in. Something happened to Popeye. He's fucked up. He's a fucked up individual who's trying to do good. He's on the side of good, but he's and it's not
even really on the side of good. I mean, it's like the drug dealers don't even feel that bad, which I get. It's like the cops are somehow worse than the drug dealers, but it kind of loses some stakes a little. I guess part of me is also like, I don't really like, so what if they catch them? I don't know. It's like,
but you're like, but why don't they show like the fucking guy losing his job because he's booting heroin?
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that there's a lack of internal conflict. That's all I'm saying. He just really wants something, and that's all there is. Like, I get that we all have that drive, but we have the other side of ourselves too. That, you know, the conflict between those two drives, you know what I mean? The drive to just love and all that stuff, and then the drive that's ego, right? And I just want to see that conflict on some level. I don't see it. It's not. I guess I think it's it's an interesting character on the surface. Gene Hackman's great, but I guess I do think it's a shallow character on some level. And then I just don't, the stakes of it, I don't care if he catches him or not.
Well, that's good because he doesn't catch him.
But I just don't know, like, what, like.
But just, aren't you assuming? So you go back to the previous film. You know God's going to win. Don't you feel like Popeye's going to get his man, and then he doesn't? You feel that way. You can make up a thing that you didn't, but when you're watching it, you're going, they're gonna get him. I get it. These are
the ending. The ending is cool.
The ending, by the way, very similar to Full Metal Jacket. If you watch those strings that, and then they're in that warehouse that's all empty. It looks like Full Metal Jacket. Very similar, like that weird music.
Yeah, I know. And here's the thing.
You know that you already thought of that. That's just whatever. Okay, you put that together. Sorry.
No, that's it. Does feel Full Metal Jacket. You're right. I just had a thought when. I know that they couldn't change it like this because it's not true, but to me, just an example of how it would have been so much more impactful if it was Roy Scheider who got shot, someone that he actually cared about, that meant something to him, and he still ran away at the end like that. That to me would have been that shocking ending. But just shooting the guy who's been bitching at him the whole time, it just doesn't have that much of an effect on me. Like when he doesn't care that he killed that guy, it's not that big of a shock.
That's like an infuriating point, though, to be honest. And I think you're such a smart.
First time
I think you're such a smart movie guy, and I think you're above that point you just made. I think you're better than that. I mean, that is like so cliche. That's a 2010 movie. He shot his partner. Oh my God, what have I done? I've killed my best friend. That would be ridiculous. First of all, I think it's based on a true story.
I know they can't do it. I just don't.
What if he killed his mother? What if his mother came in there looking for him and he shot his mother in the face? Would that have been a better ending?
Fine. I'm trying to explain this a different way. I just watched it today. I didn't have enough time. My feeling is that they do everything correct in the movie. It does what they want. The movie had an objective and it achieved that. Okay? I agree with that. So from that perspective, the movie is a success. The movie had an objective and it succeeded. For me personally, I just found myself not caring that much. I guess that's just it. I just didn't care that much. And even the guy at the end who he shoots is like just a guy who's been like, it's not like an actual, like it's just a guy who's been like kind of a cliched character. Yeah, so exactly. and I'm not that shocked by it. Like him not caring about that guy. It's not like I thought he would. Like, I'm like, all right, it's not as big of a character revelation. You know, I remember as a kid thinking, ooh, that's a crazy ending. But watching now, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense that he would feel that way. Like, I'm not that surprised in that moment, you know?
I guess so. I mean, the guy's a prick. He doesn't deserve to die. He's still an FBI agent.
No, I get it, but I guess I'm not Gene Hackman.
He's also shitty to a guy that's an asshole. I mean, Gene Hackman's an asshole. Yeah. We've established that.
But he's not like, yeah, but he's also just like a shitty cartoon. Like, he's just there. He's just says cliched lines the whole time, you know? Like, there's not much to that character. He's just egging him on. That's all he does. So it doesn't work emotionally at the end. You're not like, oh my God. Like you're just like, all right. I don't know. I just feel a
I
little
suppose.
like
I mean,
numb
I
by
see what
the
you
end.
mean. It's an
I
interesting
feel
point.
numb. I feel like there's ideas in it, but I'm not emotionally connected to anything.
Could
And
some of
yeah,
this
he's
be
just
that you're on your 10th day in a row on the road and you're just feeling you're in a weird place and you're trying to cram it in as homework? Because I think if you watch this on a big screen in a theater at my house with some popcorn, it's quite compelling, and it's well done, and I think it's one of the great movies of all time. And I'm not the only one that thinks that. The American Film
No, I
Institute
know
thinks
that people love it. Now, granted, I think you could shoot a '70s camera with a piece of turd and you would love it if it had that cinematography from the '70s. But like,
I said, cruising's not great. There's a lot of them that aren't great.
No,
There's
sure.
plenty of movies from the '70s that aren't great.
There's a lot. Yeah, I mean, like, I guess I get that's my bottom line. It lacks internal conflict.
All right,
That's
but
my
it's
bottom
fun.
line.
Is it not fun?
There's some fun parts. Yeah, I like the subway part's fun. To me, I actually thought the whole metaphor of the movie was like, because William Friedkin's a big like anti-art house guy.
Yeah.
His big thing is like movies should either make you laugh, cry, or what was the other one? Or be afraid. And if a movie doesn't do any of those things, it sucks. And then he's just like, and they said something else like, anytime a movie's not for someone else, but for the director, anytime it's anything like we feel personal, you're like, that's art. It should be always just pure entertainment. And part of me feels like this movie's almost like it's almost like, the French New Wave was this kind of like whole big thing with like these artistic movies. And it's almost like this American type of movie trying to track down and beat that French art house bullshit, which is the French guys in the movie.
Oh, that's fun.
It's a weird allegory, but like it kind of feels like that. It's like, no, this is a fucking American movie. We're not into that fucking introspective bullshit. You know what I mean?
I guess. I mean, I do know what you mean. I think it's one of the great American movies, and also I think there's a little bit of. It's just so influential. There's a little bit of The Wolf of Wall Street is in there. The Departed is in there.
Yeah.
Speed is in there. And there is something like that Wolf of Wall Street thing that they pull off well, is that, Kyle Chandler is living worse than the criminals. And that's kind of something that's here too, that they show. The criminals, like you said, seem actually like better guys in some way. They're in these high loft hotels, these beautiful hotels, and these guys are in this gritty, shitty apartment, and they're out in the cold. These guys are like eating, duck or whatever, while he's standing out in the cold with a shitty pizza jacket, and his life is just better. I mean, there's something there too, that this crime is paying, and these guys that are supposed to be trying to, do good are in shitty situations. There's something compelling there too, and pretty beautiful, I think.
I don't know if it's fully explored. Like, it's not like Wolf of Wall Street is a hilarious take on like capitalism. I don't see this movie as like, I see that it has those moments, but I don't think it's contextualizing them into a bigger point ever either,
Right. I suppose, but it just feels very, there's something about the futility of what they're trying to do.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it has the aesthetics of a 70s movie. There's nihilism. There's like a pointlessness to it. You know what I mean? There's like I guess the 50s had this moral code, and there's like a lack of morality in the movie, And so it does have a lot of the interesting parts of the 70s, but like, I just didn't feel, that human connection I need in a movie. But I do recognize it's very well crafted and
fun.
And fun. And there's some parts that are very weird. Like, why do they show those bodies on the highway? What's the point of that?
Bodies on the highway.
The bodies who crash is like really bloody.
Wait, which part is this?
They just cut to like two people who died on the side of the road. It has
nothing. Yeah.
What's the point of that?
Yeah. What is the point of that?
They're not part of it
because they were in the car. I think they died chasing down the car, didn't they? When they tailing the bad guys?
I kind of looked. I thought at first I was like, "Are they part of this scene?" And I looked it up, and apparently they have nothing. It's just literally a crash that they're just stopping at to talk. It's just like a.
Isn't that afterwards? He's like, "We got to end this. People have died. Look at this. Am I crazy?" I thought they were trying to tail the bad guys because he's like, get a tail on them, and they died trying to tail them.
That's what I thought, but I looked it up, and from what I saw, it said no, it had nothing to do with the scene. It was just like a car crash that they're just talking. Yeah, because he wasn't driving in that area.
Weird.
They just show like bodies. Like I didn't get that. It's also interesting, the opening. It's kind of like The Exorcist, where it doesn't really connect. It's like a whole other, out of country thing that.
Yeah, it's a prologue.
Yeah, and he never. I mean, once again, there's like, I guess is that a cop who gets shot, What's the French? I mean, I guess that French bread thing is cool, but like, is that a cop who gets shot or?
No, well, that part's
Yeah.
showing you that guy was tailing. Yeah, he's a cop. He's doing what they're about to do, and it lets you know that this
That's what I
guy is
figured,
not above. They're dangerous. It's just showing you that someone else was on to them in another country, and what happened? They got fucking killed.
Yeah.
So they're in danger.
Yeah.
And
The
it's
French
just a
bread
fun.
party. It
Yeah,
is interesting. That movie like won all the Oscars, right?
Yeah.
It's probably the movie with the least amount of like emotional moments to win like so many awards, don't you think? I feel like most Oscar movies usually have like a, you know,
Yeah, some kind of like strings and a payoff or whatever. Yeah, that makes it fucking cool too.
yeah, I guess for me, ultimately, like, I don't like when movies are too overly emotional and cliched. And I think this movie maybe just went a little too the other way for me. But I recognize the 70s, cool cars, subway. It's also back in the good old days where racism was just a quality in a character, but not like the main. It's just like back in the day, race. Like now, you can't do that. Now, if someone's racist, that's what the movie's about. Back then, racism could just be like a character trait.
Right. And that's what, and in life too.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
That was the guy. Yeah, the guy. He's a '70s New York City cop, and he doesn't care for black people. That's part of his
or
thing.
Latino people.
Yeah. So
yeah, but yeah, I didn't care. I mean, yeah, French Connection way better than The Exorcist, but ultimately he's just not my cup of tea, William Friedkin. But it's not my cup of tea.
That's fair. What am I? I'm upset. I'm not upset.
Yeah, no, we all have different teas, and it's just not my cup.
Yeah, bad cup for you. I like the cup. It's my cup. I drink 3 cups.
Yeah, more of a. But I'm glad we did him, and hopefully we'll have him on soon.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know after this. If he watches any of this, I'll have him on Mindful Metal Jacket, maybe. But I don't know if he's going to care for you. But
he's going to have to do Mindful Metal Jacket after he hears this.
If we're ranking it, French Connection, #1, that's in my top, I don't know, 100 or so. I love it. I've watched it many, many times. I absolutely love it.
It ain't like 20, though, right?
No, it's not 20. I said 100. I don't know if you heard me say 100.
I heard you say 100. I just wanted to make sure. Like it's not. Yeah, okay. Right. Okay. Yeah.
But I love it. Exorcist is not one of my favorite movies, but I enjoy it, and I enjoyed watching it. It was fun, and I was like, man, I haven't watched this in a long time. I'm really enjoying it, and I agree. The devil, it's silly. I mean, the fucking who gives a fuck? It's the devil. It's a hockey team. You know what I mean? Like to me, is this funny? If you could name a sports team after it, it's not that scary. Like the New Jersey rapist, you couldn't have that because it's actually scary. New Jersey Devils, it's the Devils. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the idea that people watch this and we're like, oh my god, when she's like, suck my dick, motherfucker. Like, it's just like the fact that like people are like, oh.
She's like, well, it's not
my
scary.
ass,
it's
you
just funny.
cunt.
It's just funny. I don't like. Yeah, but I'm not judging it just on
people
scary.
Are like, that's terrifying the way she's
because here's the thing:
the way she told him to blow her.
But the movie The Strangers is scary, but it's not a good movie.
I'd say it is a good movie. It's scary. It achieves its thing. It's scary.
So you're saying if a movie wants to be scary and it is scary, it has to be a good movie.
Here's the thing. I feel like, and I was thinking about this earlier, I feel like I'm always accused of being pretentious in here, but I feel like you and Louis are all the ones who are like, no, The Shining isn't trying to be scary. It's blah, blah, blah. I think a movie, if it's in a genre, it should satisfy the qualities of that genre. And if it
sounds
doesn't,
like you just called me pretentious, which I think is obnoxious, but I'm not saying it should be scary. But
yes,
I'm saying if it's not scary to us, doesn't mean we have to be like, it's bad because it's not scary. It's scary to people. It's not scary to us because we're fucking 38-year-old men.
But they were.
But people are scared. There are people that are
people are scared of The Exorcist. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So then it's good by your definition.
It's hard. My theory, though, I find it hard to believe that a Jew would find it scary. Call in if you're a Jew.
Jews are afraid of the sun.
But we're not afraid of the devil.
I guess. I don't know. There's plenty of Jews I've met that are like, they can't watch a horror movie. There's plenty of them that are like, I can't even watch horror. Oh my God.
Oh,
I would never.
Get too nervous. There's always the theaters are too cold anyway.
Exactly. It's drafty. But would you agree with my point that a movie can be scary and also not good? Would you not agree with that?
No, I did heavily disagree with that. I think The Strangers is really good.
If a movie's scary, it's good.
If a
There's
horror
no
movie,
yes, there's no movie that's scary and shitty.
I don't think so, because like for me personally, I'm so dead inside. If a movie actually scares me,
You're like,
it's
that's
fucking
great.
that's kind
What
of
if
special movie.
what if the ending falls apart, the dialogue is shit, but there's a
I
bunch of
love
jump scares? So
well,
a
if
jump
the
scare makes a good movie to you.
if
Boom,
it
that's good.
if the dialogue is shit, then I tend to not. The jump scares don't work. Like to me, it's like you have to care a little about the characters. I don't know. Like The Conjuring
Okay, so
is a
you're making
movie.
my point.
No, for me to find it scary. You know what I mean? Like
So
if the characters are awful, I don't find it scary. Like that's the thing about horror movies. They really have to have good, believable acting, which The Exorcist does. I just don't find it that scary. But like The Strangers is well acted, and it's a creepy ass movie. I think that is a good movie. I think
but
it's a great movie.
pretty silly. I mean, the dialogue is silly, and then she like shoots her friend in the face. I mean, I haven't watched it in a long time. We could go back and do it.
I think it's great. I mean, there's terrifying shit, and also to me, it's like that's the shit. The Strangers is the shit that scares me. It's like people just trying to kill someone in a house. Give me
Exactly. I mean, that's my
that.
point. Yeah.
Yeah, but like The Conjuring is a movie that I legitimately find really scary that has a dumb ending, and it's a dumb ending because it's an Exorcist ending once again, which I just think always when you get to the Exorcist shit, it's stupid.
But it's a great
But-
movie.
I mean, yes, but here's the thing: I
it's a
can
great
love
movie with a dumb. So a great movie can have a dumb ending, in your opinion.
if a movie is like amazingly entertaining the whole time and then the ending sucks. I'm not going to be like that movie sucks because I'm enjoying it the whole time. I felt the same way
That's how
about
I feel
War
with
of
The Exorcist.
All right, yeah, okay. I mean, that's fine, and I get that, but I guess I wasn't captivated by the first part. But like War of the Worlds to me is an amazing, incredible, terrifying movie with incredible stuff that has a dumb ending. But I'm still like, I'm still on board just because it's so, I guess for me, like a horror movie that's so immediately gratifying, it's kind of like a comedy. How many comedies do we love that are so hilarious, but they probably aren't that funny in the last part,
Well, the best example of this, which we've talked about before, and I was just thinking about, is The Cable Guy, which is one of my favorite movies ever. And then the last 15 minutes, I turn off. I'm just like, all right, the movie just ended. After Porno Password, it becomes dog shit. It's just silly to me.
But because it's a movie about instant gratification of laughing the whole time or loving it, like you can't even though it's bad, you're like enjoying it so much up to that point. And I think that's true for comedy and horror. Like Blazing Saddles kind of wears off after a little bit, but
Comedy's
it's
hard to pull off. Almost all comedies.
Comedy gets boring after like an hour. It's really
That's why it's similarly when I'm saying the scariest movies are movies that aren't horror movies. I feel that with comedy, like the best movies that work the best comedically often aren't like full on comedies. And we've talked about like Election, Sideways, Ferris Bueller, movies like that are hilarious. Goodfellas is another movie that I think is like absolutely hilarious, but it's ultimately a drama. All those movies are.
Well, no, I just say, I mean, I guess it's just, to me, that's like top shelf comedy. Like, I don't think comedy should just be broad. Like, I think that's the best kind of comedy, I guess,
Right.
But like and Big Lebowski, if it's character based, it will and you care about the drama of the characters, it doesn't get old by the end,
Right.
But if it's Anchorman being like, whoop, you're just riffing about
Naked Gun, I can watch all the way through and it's great.
Yeah, that's because that level of jokes are just incredible.
It's just because the jokes are so good. So
yeah.
All right, anyway, there you have it. This is one of our best episodes, I think. This is what the people want. Some arguments.
This is contentious, yeah.
Yeah. And pretentious, evidently.
Oh, I got a perfect ending for this. I can go like
all right. French Connection.
French Connection.
Isn't that so satisfying when he does that to him, but then he gets away ultimately? That's a surprise. Once he does that, you're like, okay, he got him. He got his man, but he didn't.
He had that thing locked and loaded.
Exactly. Like you know the character because you know who he is.
But it is funny that he had a thought. He's like, once I see that guy, I'm going to give that wave back to him.
Exactly. You know that character. It's great. It's great writing. It's great performance. It's a great
also
movie.
Interesting. It's interesting in The Exorcist when they when she throws up on the first priest and they have to wash the clothes later. It's just funny to me that they're like in the laundry room washing off the vomit of the devil. Like, and then she returns the outfit back to him. I'd be like, you can throw that away.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but Satan throw up. It's hard to get out.
Right.
He takes it. He's like, I'll just wear it again.
So it works on a comedic level.
Get another fucking but yeah, this is good. This is fun. Where are you gonna be?
I got nothing for bit. I'm no longer in Fort Worth. I had to cancel. I got some big stuff cooking. I'm making a film of my own right now, and it's scary to have a movie where you critique films and then you star in one. I mean,
Our last episode should just be us discussing this movie, and I'm like tearing it apart.
I feel like you're gonna hate it. Like, I mean, me and the people working on it are like, don't get it to Raanan. You can't let Raanan read it.
What?
Yeah, because you'll just rip it apart. There's nobody I'm more nervous to watch this film than you.
Well, I actually, you're missing out. I give great feedback, and I'm very constructive and supportive.
I know, but we'd have to halt production. I feel like you'll be like, it should end this way, and it should be this. But I think it's good. I don't know.
It's going to be great. I'm so excited. It's very exciting. Wait, what was I going to say?
I have dates though. Sorry, Philadelphia,
yeah.
Helium, Philadelphia. That's a big one. September.
When are you doing that? Philadelphia Helium.
Oh, I was going to let the people know too. September 23rd, 24th, 25th. Get tickets. Get them early. It's a small club. Some of the shows will sell out. Not that many of them, but that's going to be great. And then I'm on the road the rest of the year. I got Bananas, Royal Oak, Michigan, some other place. Oh, Portland Helium.
Portland Helium is so great.
I love it. Yeah,
that's like my favorite club.
Oh wow.
Oh, by the way, I saw a guy at the show last night. Big fan.
Of me?
No, of us, of the pod. Actually, I would have been so excited. I would have been upset. Yeah, Keaton was his name. Yeah, he was. I saw him in the lobby waiting. He was looking at me like I was a fuck. He was like, and then he like came out. Very nice guy. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it was exciting to have a fucking fan.
Yeah, I remember that point in my career where I knew my fans' names.
I gotta pretend like it's not a big deal. He's like, "Hey man, love the pod." I'm like, "Yeah, I get that all the time." And inside,
we should get some merch. We should get merch that says "action" on the front and "cut" on the back.
I actually think we should get merch because I want to sell shirts on the road, and I don't know what to fucking sell.
I know, but don't you find it's hard to sell podcast merch on the road because most people don't even know about your podcast? So you're like,
that's how you get them to know. You're like, I got a shirt for my podcast. Buy the shirt. And then you got the shirt. Once they buy the shirt, they have to get on the podcast.
I guess. But if I went to see, somebody and they're like, hey, buy an Everybody Loves Raymond shirt, I'd be like, I've never seen the show. I don't care.
I need to have a shirt or so. I have nothing to sell, and you got to sell something to see if someone will fuck you after the show. That's no point. You can't just stand there and be like, anyone want to fuck me?
I got a bit about this starring you.
I need like a shirt or something. So I can't think of anything though.
I know it's hard to think of, but we'll get some merch. Someone will buy some of our merch, and we have a Patreon, so join that.
Don't you think a shirt was Joe and Raanan Talk Movies with that like? Oh, but we can't have the image. That's too expensive, right? Like to have like a drawing on it.
I don't know. I don't think it's that.
Because that's a cool shirt.
A great shirt. It's got
Maybe we should sell
faces.
that.
Do people want to wear a shirt with our faces on it?
I don't know. But I also don't want to sell shirts on the road and give you half.
Yeah, that's the other thing. You got to come up with your own thing. We got to sell them on a website.
Or maybe, sell them on a website. Or and maybe we make our own money for the shirts on our own when we sell them.
You're the Jew here. You should be coming up with this.
I'm a bad Jew.
Department.
I confirm every Jewish stereotype besides the money one. I'm bad with money, but I got the other ones very. I'm a hypochondriac, and what are the other ones?
I feel like you have to list them, or else it's going to be weird.
little dick,
annoying,
annoying,
bad friends,
shitty,
terrible lovers,
friend, terrible lovers. I'm all those,
gross,
but I'm broke. Right, I'm not good with money.
I'm broke, but it's oak. All right, where are you going to be? Plug some shit.
Well, I got a lot of shit, but I mainly want to just stress. I got 2 shows I'm headlining that like it's door deals, so I need people to come. So I'll just focus on those shows right now.
Where are they?
It's August 8th at Comedy Off Broadway. If we have Lexington people who live in Lexington, Kentucky, come to that show. It's on the website, comedyoffbroadway.com. I said, let's headline a night. They said, sure. I don't know if I've sold any tickets. So like come to that show. I'm working on my new hour. It's really good. And then August 9th in Louisville, my hometown, Planet of the Tapes. I'm headlining, and tickets there on planetoftheTapes.biz. Buy tickets, buy them now. I need a fucking people in there. Otherwise I'll be sad.
Put in a word. I want to go to Louisville. I love Louisville.
Put in, what are you doing? Whatever you want. It's like they'll love to have you.
It's
I'll put in a word,
right?
Louisville.
But I think people from there, besides you, say Louisville.
Louisville. No, that was no. But they're always correcting people, but I think it's because people go Louisville. It's not Louisville.
Who the fuck says Louisville?
I think people say Louisville.
Now that's a Jewish place.
Richard Louisville. But yeah. So I got other tour dates.
This is petering.
All right, yeah, this petered a long time ago.
All right, this is a great
It's
episode.
up to Pauling.
This was fun. Yeah, follow the podcast, leave a nice review, join the Patreon, and
action.
No, cut.
Well, I already said cut. Oh, yeah.
No, cut again. Cut at the end. That's how you end the scene.
Cut.